the last example for demand and supply. So suppose I've got the demand function, which was 1800. Divide by the square root of x plus 1, and the supply was 2 times the square root of x plus 1. Right, this one would actually be very hard to solve by hand, which is why we do these all in the calculator. You have a graphing calculator, it's a tool you're allowed to use. They tell you that it is only in the positive quadrant. Alright, so I'm going to go to my calculator and plug them in, which I did, but I did plug in my first function wrong, I see. Alright, so I've got 1800 divided by the square root of x plus 1, 2 times the square root of x plus 1, and then this one I'm going to have to adjust my window. And what's going to help me with my window here is when I plug 0 into the first function, right, I'm going to get 1800 divided by the square root of 1, which is 1800 divided by 1. So I know I have to go at least up to 1800. So I go to my window. Since it's going to be a fairly large, I'm actually going to make this 1000. Scale by 100. And then this one I know I need to go to at least 2000. And I might still have to make my window bigger. Alright, because 1800 is what I want to at least see. And I'll scale by 100. Alright, so let's see if that gives me a good enough looking picture. Actually, I went a little too big. Alright. So I went too big in my y direction. So I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to go a lot smaller in my y. So my y direction. $200 maybe? Alright, that's a good enough picture. I can see my equilibrium point, which is way over here, but I can see everything. Now again, it's off my page here because it goes up fairly steep at the axes there. It does hit it at 1800. But I want to be able to see my equilibrium point. Alright, so there's my equilibrium point. Right, so a lot of times with these messy ones, it's the window that's sometimes hard to find. Alright, so ready to find my equilibrium point. Second trace, 5, intersect, first curve, second curve, guess. So again, I usually just move my cursor over as close as I can. Oh, still not there yet. And as long as I'm close, then I just hit my button 3 times. Enter, enter, enter. Alright, so it looks like the equilibrium X value is $899, 899 items at $60. Alright, so now to graph this fun picture. So it is way up here, 1800. And so it comes down fairly fast. Alright, so there's my demand. And then my supply function is way down here at 2. And it doesn't come up super fast, but I'm going to kind of make it an exaggeration of what it was. Alright, so this was $8.99. And this was $60. Alright, so the equilibrium price was $60. Quantity was 899 items, whatever they are. Alright, so 899 was the number of items sold at $60. So this is consumer surplus, this is producer surplus. So consumer surplus actually is going to be fairly large just looking at the picture. Producers is going to be very small compared to the consumers. Whatever this particular item is. Alright, so there's A. A. Now B, actually finding them. Alright, consumer surplus first. Remember, consumer surplus is the area under the demand curve from 0 to $8.99, right, to my equilibrium point. My demand curve was that 1800 divided by the square root of x plus 1 minus 899 times 60, right? My revenue generated that box. 899 times the 60, that's the equilibrium point. And again, this one you actually have to find on your graphing calculator. So I'll go back to my graphing calculator. I want to find the area under the blue curve. So second trace 7. I'm on the blue curve, right? If I look up here, I'm on the 1800 divided by x plus 1. So I'm ready to put in 0, 899, and it should shade. So 104,400. I gotta remember that. 10400 minus, when I take 60 times 899, that's 53940. The difference, I forgot a 4. 104400. Again, it's a fairly large number. There's a lot left on the table. $50,460 is the consumer surplus. Producer surplus will be a lot smaller than that, just based on the picture. Alright, so remember, the producer surplus is this little bitty area here above the supply curve, below the revenue. And so the first thing is the revenue, which I'm just going to write down the revenue, which was 53940, minus the area under the supply curve. So 0 to 899, the supply was 2 times the square root of x plus 1. Again, I want to see that. And then you can find it using your calculator. So 53940, finding that on my graphing calculator. Again, I'm going to change my window so it regraphs. So I didn't change it. And that just gets rid of that shaded in region. It's the only reason why. You don't have to. That's just so that I can show you that it is going to shade underneath the supply curve. Alright, so there's my demand, my supply. Second trace, 7. Make sure I'm on the right curve, so I hit my down arrow. Now I'm on the right curve. I'm on 2 times the square root of x plus 1. 0, 899. Hit enter and it'll shade under the red curve, which should be a smaller number than the revenue. Oh, it's a messy number. 359986667. Alright, so if I can remember that. Then you take the difference, which is 17941.33, and there's the producer. And again, it's a dollar amount. So the producer surplus is smaller, a lot smaller than the consumers. The consumers was a little over 50,000. The producer was a little under 18,000. All right, and so this is an example. And again, like I said, the biggest part of this one is the setup. Once you get it set up, you can use your calculator to find everything. You use your calculator to find equilibrium. You can use your calculator to find the area under the supply, the area under the demand. The biggest thing is you just have to remember, that's why the picture is so important. The picture kind of tells you what area you're looking for. It tells you how to set it up. Alright, and you will have to do one of these on your quiz and your test, and you will have to do one of these on the final exam. So you will have to make sure you know how to set this up. Alright, we'll stop there. We're finished with 5.1.